technical, organizational, as well as governance developments to the public at large, noting that the society does take a keen interest in the work of the African National Congress. Therefore, this update, colleagues, emanates from the outcomes of the third ordinary meeting of the Regional Executive Committee of the ANC in Ekurhuleni, as I have indicated. We convened this media briefing post the profound loss caused by the untimely passing away of our late comrade Andile Mngwevu. The Regional Executive Committee in its meeting did express once more its sincere and heartfelt condolences to the family, the relatives, the friends, and comrades at large who felt the passing away of Comrade Andile Mngwevu. The Regional Executive Committee equally commended all the stakeholders who played a critical role in ensuring a befitting send-off of our late Comrade Andile Mngwevu. The REC received a political input from the regional chairperson, Comrade Nkosindipile Kagaza, which made an emphasis on the need to focus on political organization as well as governance work that is people-centered. The input by the regional chair reminded the Regional Executive Committee about the task of building strong structures consistent with the program of organizational renewal and that of unity of purpose. Furthermore, his input emphasized on the consistency of providing basic services, fostering ethical leadership and accountability, particularly where there are glaring instances of underperformance and compromised governance within the city of Ekurhuleni. The Regional Executive Committee equally comprehended the mandate of fixing local government and transform the economy, as well as all the related tasks that were articulated and directed by the 2026 January 8 statement of the ANC's National Executive Committee. As such, the Regional Executive Committee reaffirmed its commitment of working together with communities to do better in accelerating service delivery and driving local economic development. The meeting received an organizational update which covered the work done, tracing our outstanding actions and the tasks that lies ahead. Additionally, the meeting engaged on measures that are related to the strengthening and enhancing of governance performance with a view to preserve the stability of council and the work of executive. Given that outcoming provincial conference of the ANC in Gauteng, the Regional Executive Committee also engaged on a regional approach towards the conference, subject to further interactions with our broader structures. On organizational work, the meeting received an update in respect of the implementation of organizational work as guided by our adopted program of action for 2025-2026. To this end, the regional leadership noted with encouragement the implementation of taking the ANC to communities by our branches in an effort to reconnect the African National Congress with communities. This work will continue on a regular basis as underpinned by voter contact, service delivery meetings, community safety, as well as stakeholder engagements. We also commend all ANC branches for having participated in the Back to School Readiness Program, making a significant contribution in ensuring a conducive environment for teaching and learning. We worked tirelessly with our structures in intervening where there were challenges of placement, and we continue to implore the Department of Education to close all the gaps in the systems as it relates to applications in the next cycle. The Regional Executive Committee reiterates that a branch in good standing must be characterized by its involvement in helping to resolve community issues. The organizational report also indicated that we undertook the induction of branch executive committees as part of the objective of increasing the branch leadership's understanding about organizational functionality. And this forms part of organizational renewal, cadre development in order to build quality leadership. This induction forms part, as I've indicated, of capacitation of leadership structures for them to effectively run the basic unit of the African National Congress. We will continue to assess the impact of the inductions in relation to the overall functionality of our structures on the ground. With regards to the by-elections, the African National Congress once more noted the win out of a tough and a highly contested by-election in Ward 109 on the 10th of December 2025. We continue to thank the voters in Ward 109 for entrusting the African National Congress with what we call a privileged responsibility to serve. As such, we continue to pledge to do better, and the ANC Ward Councillor has already hit the ground running, attending to issues that affect communities as it relates to service delivery. On the 114th anniversary of the ANC in the region will convene the 114th anniversary celebration of the African National Congress across all our zones, along with our community members. Branches of the ANC in the region have been encouraged to undertake charity work in a build-up to the zonal anniversaries that will celebrate the 114th anniversary of the organization. Importantly is that the celebrations will further outline and take along community members about the 2026 tasks that are already in motion for implementation emanating from the statement of the ANC. Towards the provincial conference, given the renewal program, the concerning electoral performance, as well as the existential risk that is faced by the organization even in this province, the Regional Executive Committee appreciated the fact that it has a responsibility to contribute and guide the regional participation in the upcoming provincial conference. At the center of what we term our guiding contribution, it will be a perspective on that which must be discussed to regain the lost ground, as well as an inclusive leadership collective, as opposed to factional victories and winner takes all. The Regional Executive Committee emphasized the importance of synergy as we move towards the provincial conference, and it is discouraging any fragmented lobbying that are not necessarily in the best interest of renewal, but interests that are self-positioning. As such, the regional office bearers were mandated by the Regional Executive Committee to engage with other regional leadership around this issue of the provincial conference, a process to be initiated by the regional chair working along with the regional secretary. These engagements with other regions will focus on political and organizational strengthening, including leadership discussion that is driven by consensus and not selfish interest at the expense of the standing of the ANC in the province. So the point we're emphasizing is that we want to pursue engagements on consensus leadership, but the process will be bottom up because we do interact. We do rather need to interact and consult with our structures. On governance update, having received an update on the latest developments within municipal governance in the city of Ekurhuleni, the Regional Executive Committee welcomed the work that has been done thus far in stabilizing governance through a renewed sense of service. We call upon all political parties in council to prioritize the servicing of residents at the center of everything. The meeting reiterated the call of committing ourselves to fixing local government through visible delivery that must translate into improved quality of life. Core services like water, sanitation, electricity, and waste collection must be provided with minimal interruption and that service delivery queries must be swiftly attended without seriously inconveniencing our residents. The meeting commended the ANC's foresight of embarking into the construction of 29 new water reservoirs during the period 2016 up until 2021 term of office, an investment that has really enabled the city of Ekurhuleni to ensure that it is able to provide sustainable water. The ANC is calling for the resolving of persistent water challenges, particularly in the area of Bedford View, one of the high-bearing areas, along with Tsakane, as well as the Davidton and Etwatwa area. The point we are emphasizing here is that the fallacy or the false reporting that the issue of water is being championed in Ekurhuleni by a particular party that has since decided to leave the collaborative government is actually untrue. We took a bold decision to invest in the construction of 29 reservoirs as the African National Congress. And that foresight, as we're indicating in our statement, it has helped us to stabilize the supply of water in Ekurhuleni. So it's not a sudden thing, but it was a strategic and a foresight intervention. The Regional Executive Committee was also abreast about the suspensions of the CIO, the head of risk, as well as the head of human resources, which we as the Regional Executive Committee, we fully support. We implore all the suspended senior officials to cooperate and subject themselves into the disciplinary processes, a platform through which they will be able to make their own representation against the allegations that are put before them. We also strongly condemn any form of attempt to resist appearing before the disciplinary committee by senior officials through the use of unnecessary tactics and delays. The point is that everyone must appear before the disciplinary committee and explain their case. Furthermore, we vehemently discourage any sponsored attacks against the executive mayor, which are nothing but mere attempts to suffocate consequence management. We equally view these attacks as being coordinated and financially funded by some of the senior officials as part of an attack against the character of the executive mayor and the fight to push back against the mayor's call for accountability. The ANC in Ekurhuleni is firmly behind the executive mayor, Comrade Nkosindipile Xhakaza, and we did encourage him and all other political parties who are committed into good and ethical governance to remain steadfast and be resilient against any efforts that are aimed at evading accountability and consequence as led by the executive mayor. On the strengthening of the mayoral committee, the ANC in Ekurhuleni welcomes the changes in the mayoral committee, which were informed by, amongst others, by an assessment that was conducted by the executive mayor. So we fully welcome those changes as effected. These changes, in our view, they represent a decisive step towards strengthening government, improving stability within council and the administration at large. But most importantly, these changes are aimed at ensuring that we accelerate service delivery to the residents of Ekurhuleni beyond the remainder within this term and beyond the term itself. We trust that the newly appointed members of the mayoral committee will work along the executive mayor and contribute towards a renewed commitment to improve performance and good governance through the implementation of practical and impactful interventions consistent with the mandate of fixing local government. A stable council is essential, and that is the point that the Regional Executive Committee is making. Hence, we support the consideration of other political parties into the executive leadership And we view this move by the executive mayor to be embracing the principle of inclusivity, something that must also find expression within the composition of the legislature. Accordingly, the executive mayor must fill the outstanding members of the mayoral committee to ensure the full complement of the executive, subject to the necessary consultation. We wish to assure the residents of Ekurhuleni that there is no crisis in the city of Ekurhuleni. There is no crisis in the leadership of the executive mayor and his team. And if there is anything, it is that of stabilizing the city and the city's administration. As we speak, the city is functioning and the administration has heeded our call of a renewed public administration. Just yesterday, the executive mayor convened the mayoral committee meeting with the new members of the mayoral committee to process items that must be considered before council. I wish to touch on the Action SA as well as the EFF aspects in view of their reaction to the changes in the mayoral committee. With regards to the Action SA, we wish to inform you that out of numerous engagements, we did extend an invite for Action SA to participate in the mayoral committee, to which they rejected, as we saw in their media statement. The African National Congress wished to equally reject the notion by the Action SA that their rejection is on the basis of not wanting to join a failing government, which in our view is not the case, as the city of Ekurhuleni continues to function despite what was an era of maladministration, mismanagement, and coordinated, compromised good governance practices, which, by the way, the Action SA participated in through one of their MMCs of community safety. And some of the issues that we are responding to in the Madlanga Commission today, the MMC of community safety coming from Action SA was in fact part of the mayoral committee and lacked the necessary leadership to ensure that there is political oversight. So we continue to say that we are functioning as an institution and we are correcting the era of maladministration, mismanagement, and coordinated compromise of good governance practices. And that era, we term it as the era of barren years. The Action SA, in our view, was threatened by the EFF in that if they take up the positions in the city of Ekurhuleni, the EFF will therefore withdraw its support against their mayor in Tshwane. So that is the real reason why the Action SA, in our view, has suddenly taken a U-turn from participating into the executive. And just for your information, yesterday we established that the Action SA has withdrawn a motion coming from their side which called for the establishment of the deputy executive mayor in the city of Ekurhuleni, of course with an eye of occupying that position. And this could not be possible outside the collaboration with the African National Congress. So the notion that they don't want to participate in a failing government is actually an illusion, a political reason. There are two fundamental issues. They are trying to protect their executive mayor in the city of Tshwane. And as we said, they submitted a motion of deputy mayor, and that should be clear and logical that they have an interest in participating into the executive. Be that as it may, we view Action SA as a party, in our view, that can still play a role in cementing the stability, and we wish to say that our doors continues to be open because we are a functioning municipality and not a municipality in crisis, collapse as it is purported by Mr. Mashaba. Hilaba kuri tatana Mashaba, tana ibulabule. There is no one who will remove you in the city of Ekurhuleni without the ANC. And I want to repeat this, Hilaba kuri Tatana Mashaba Tana Ibulabule. There is no one who will remove the executive mayor of Tshwane without the African National Congress. Mr. Mashaba got easily scared and he succumbed to the threat, and he then took a retreat in that regard. He chose to succumb to the threat by the EFF, and EFF has no capacity, by the way, to remove the mayor in the city of Tshwane. Regarding the EFF, we have always indicated that we accept that we as the African National Congress did not get an outright majority, but we are the biggest party in terms of council representation. And this is qualified by the 86 seats that we have as the African National Congress, and the fact that we have 78 wards, constituting 70% of the total wards in the city of Ekurhuleni. And these wards are led by the African National Congress. Of note is that the EFF does not lead any of the wards in the city of Ekurhuleni. They had a belief that in view of the fact that the ANC did not get an absolute majority, therefore they are equal to the African National Congress, a notion that we dismiss to the extent that the allocation in terms of seats must represent proportional representation. We have made it clear as the African National Congress that we are not desperate to be in government at the expense of the coalition principles and the framework as adopted by the National Executive Committee of the ANC. We have urged the principle of proportional representation and commitment to coordinated manner of government, to which the EFF has actually been allergic to, believing that they are equal to ANC, therefore there must be appropriated a substantial number of seats. But in occupying those seats, they fail to be committed into the leadership of the executive mayor as part of making sure that we govern through a common program of action and not spectacles and using positions for party profiling. At some point, the EFF was appropriated 5 MMCs, a number which was equal into the ANC, and they took strategic position without even leading a ward, something that we viewed as abnormal. We have since taken note that they have withdrawn from the executive, something that was long anticipated. And by the way, there has been a decision which was communicated by their leader that they will pull out from the cooperative or collaborative government with the ANC across all the municipalities. And it's something that we are yet to see. We believe that it was just a fallacy and probably a threat. If they are serious, they must do it in action. We will also have to look at the allocation in the legislature where the EFF is represented. We will look at this from a point of proportional representation, starting with the chair of chairs of the EFF and the entire oversight committee chairpersons that are occupied by the EFF. And this will be dealt with after the tabling of the Gauteng provincial budget. As we deal with the issue of executive, we are also going to deal with the issue of executive on the extent to which they are represented at the level of legislature, right from their chair of chairs and up until the chairperson that they are occupying. Their presence in the executive resulted in instances of compromised governance. They participated in decisions that led to the shifting of critical energy function, which ultimately led to the under-collection on the electricity revenue, plunging the city into a financial mess which we must now clean. Instead of considering the appointment of additional internal security cleaners, they spearheaded a tender which was justified by their leader at some point to have been done above board, even it was done within the shortest space of time committing the city into a huge financial implication. A party that claims insourcing, but given an opportunity, they appoint security contractors without even saying, let's rather reserve a portion of the budget to appoint internal capacity. So they speak left and they walk right. And this is the second fact about EFF participating in government, literally and completely ignoring their so-called insourcing, but ensuring that they put a hand in the security tender. When the executive mayor is dealing with the revelations of the Madlanga commissions, they, EFF, removed their competent speaker, who was seen to be enabling a process of accountability and consequence management, which they wanted to block. So the removal of their speaker, it was on the basis that the executive mayor was clear that we must take corrective actions. And the speaker understood the essence of good governance, the call for accountability and consequence management. They saw her as a person that will block their intent of protecting some of the senior officials within the city of Ekurhuleni. And this is one of the things that the EFF being in government results into the blocking of accountability and consequence management. We allocated 200 million into the Department of Water and Sanitation for them to procure chemical toilets as part of progressively removing away the 100% reliance on the chemical toilets. Till to date, and before their removal or withdrawing themselves, they did not initiate a procurement process to ensure that we spend the money, so that the status quo of contractors fully providing these chemical toilets purely because of their direct interest and the hand in those tenders, they remain. This leadership continues to be committed in making sure that we stabilize the city and ensure that the city remains a delivering city. Thank you very much. That is the end of our statement.
Where do you even begin?
Thanks so much, Nabala. Now we're going to open for the session of answers and questions and answers. Before you raise your question, you indicate the media house, the name of your name and the media house you come from. We'll start just indicating. Let's just count. You take the number 1, Tumbali, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's play your number, please. Ms. Vilarazi.
Busi Vilarazi, Kexton Media. John, this is sorry. You mentioned that with Action SA EFF, last time the mayor said they had till the end of the day to actually reject or accept. Question is, have they officially done that in paper, or are you still giving them the opportunity to actually sit down and talk with leadership in taking up the position? And if you're not considering that, is there a party that you have identified within the council that can take up the positions? And the last question on the issue of securing the tender for the chemical toilet. Wasn't there a better solution in terms of securing the chemical toilet, or looking at a permanent infrastructure for the areas that you were securing those toilets for?
Mbalendle Mthethwa for SABC News. Now, with regards, Mbalendle Mthethwa for SABC News. Now, with regards to the distribution of positions of MMCs, are you saying that the decision to remove some of the EFF councillors has been informed by the fact that they hold no wards and therefore do not represent the will of the people, and therefore the party with the most wards and most seats should be the one that is able to take up majority of the MMC positions? And is it at all possible to, go back to the drawing table and renegotiate your relationship with the EFF?
Tabiso Goba from Eyewitness News. Just on Action SA, was there ever a point where Action SA agreed to come onto the mayoral committee? And if not, then why was Ekurhuleni Khumalo announced as an MMC? My second question is around that currently, are there any worries that currently this coalition that the ANC is leading is a minority coalition and it makes you susceptible to a motion of no confidence? Are there any worries on that respect? Thank you.
All right, Mpatwa.
Thank you. Mfanelo Tsanibe from Tembisa Online News. My question will be directed to specifically the chair. On the portfolios, I may not be sure if it's portfolios or committees. I see the energy department, it has vanished. So I just wanted to find out what is the plan with that. And also, should we then be worried as the residents, because it looks like there's instability within, especially with the political parties communicating via the media that now they are not buying into what is happening. Thank you so much.
Gauteng Network.
Cindy Santlawati from the Gauteng Network. Just a few questions. The first one is on the water and sanitation portfolio, now moved into the, and I think, what is it called again?
Utilities.
Utilities. Yeah. Areas such as Tembisa, Davidton had water crises a few times throughout the year, and now things were starting to destabilize. Will this not reintroduce that difficulty of those type of instability in that particular portfolio again in terms of water security? The water procurement issue that you are saying that they had failed the previous MMC to ensure that it's executed. What exactly was the impact behind that in terms of to residents of Ekurhuleni? Now, the relationship with the city, with the regional office of the ANC and the EFF. Are we then expecting next Thursday probably a massive fight in council, or how is it going to affect maybe decisions and votes going forward? Because there's a 122 depending versus the other, I think, 113. So, rightly said, it's going to be a tense situation in council going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Lubabalo Khokho from Culturals Media. Oh, okay. Lubabalo Khokho from Culturals Media. Ayamumbuzo nje mibini. Oqala uthi from njengoba asivile uMr Dlabati ethetha esithi ucela uMr Hemni Mashaba baze bazothetha uba akavumi ukuzothethana nabo kuzokwenzekani. And the second question is ama security astrikekileyo apha Ekurhuleni. Ama securities akade infrastructure ka government afaka impahla ezi private, and sometimes ebusuku awabonakali or during the day or ekuseni kuma facilities ka government awabonakali, infrastructure ka government yamosheka while ama securities akhona. What's your take on that? Because
Anele.
Okay, Anele Spinasa from EKFM. I'm partly covered on some of the questions that I had. But also I want to come on this portfolio here, Metro Utilities Trading Service. That includes energy, water, and waste. Why these demanding departments, which are the main service delivery, put under one MMC, and in Nationality Nalapo MMC efikayo in council, a new councillor? Why is that so?
Thank you so much. Can come in now.
Good morning, my name is Yamtanda Kapa from News 24. Mayor, with regards to your reshuffle or the changes to your mayoral committee, why were you comfortable announcing the Action SA's Ekurhuleni Khumalo, given the fact that he is in court for an assault charge? Is that not a problem at all for your ANC? And then you spoke about speaking to parties to fill these vacancies. Who are you talking to, and to what extent? And you've touched very briefly on the situation with regards to the provincial conference that's coming up. What sort of expression is this region wanting to find in whatever is the outcome of the provincial conference? I know we've seen the mayor on some slates flying around, Can you confirm here? Are you available for anything? And if you can, please just bring us into your confidence. Are you actually standing for leadership at the upcoming conference? Thank you.
Right, you can come through now.
Good afternoon. My name is Sana Mboleko from the Sunday Times. I'm covered by my colleague Siam Tanda. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think that's the end of our question. I'll leave it to the leadership to come and respond to the questions.
Aren't we having second session of the questions?
Thank you very much, because there are a number of governance-related questions. We will allow the executive mayor to talk to that. Of course, a timeline was given for the parties to make their final determination, and they have not responded accordingly. So that was the courtesy from the executive mayor, out of being considerate and fair, to say probably they are reapplying their minds. Be that as it may, we can't be held back. The full complement of the mayoral committee must be in place, as we are saying in our statement, that accordingly, the executive mayor must then fill the positions that are outstanding. A better solution for comical toilet is what we have been propagating and actually articulated even in our State of the City address and the budget. And you need that willingness from the leadership to understand that this thing of chemical toilets is unsustainable financially, but also our communities, they deserve decent ablution facilities. But because people are entrenched into tenders, we tend to turn a blind eye on permanent and quality solution, because we continue to extract benefit from this arrangement of chemical toilets. The distribution of position in Bali, we have been clear as the ANC that we must follow a proportional representation, because that is a fair principle for all other political parties. And that is why we are saying in our statement, we accept that we don't have the absolute majority. But on the strength of the numbers that we have, when we allocate positions, it should be reflective of the numbers that political parties do have. You can't have a party with no councillors occupy 5 MMCs, and at some point in time it negotiated a de facto mayor through the AIC, which they controlled. So literally through backdoor, they were running the city, and we could not have